What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLD Games coming at you with another cool video back in Planet Coaster in Time City, and the time is among us. The apocalypse is among us. In today's episode, we are going to be working on the apocalypse section, and I'm so excited for this section, probably more so than the Jurassic section, because there's going to be some really cool architecture and really cool different things that I don't think has really been done before in Planet Coaster. I'm not sure if it has or not. I haven't really looked into any like apocalypse kind of themed stuff as much. I know there's a lot of zombie apocalypse items from the studio pack, but which of course we do use in today's episode, which is we get a lot of cool stuff going in this episode to kind of get this section started, and this was the ride that I was the most excited about for this section of the park, because we're going to be making scenes. We're going to pretty much make this one of the coolest rides in existence. So to get this kind of going, I had to make kind of the shaping of the tower itself, and the tower itself is going to have multiple scenes. I had to make sure I had the sequence done first, and then make the scenes, make the areas of where the scenes are going to go within that, and then we create the scenes, and then we have to after that enclose the building, and then we can do the exterior detailing on the building after that. So there's a lot of work to get done on this part, so I had to pause it every time the elevator kind of drop tower stops, and then create the first scenes for each one. So and then we'll create all the scenes, and then at the top it will open up. There's not going to be a scene, it's just going to open up to like a window, and you'll actually be able to see outside and get some really cool views of the rest of the park from up there. And then you're just going to drop down, and it's going to have a really cool ending to an awesome ride. So that's going to be really neat when that is all said and done. This tower is going to be really cool when it is complete. Again, we're going to be doing a lot of amazing exterior design, making this building look unstable and kind of no operating kind of feel to it, or like a feel that it shouldn't be operating because it's so unstable. And also in this episode, we also get to another roller coaster. That is correct. We'll see in just a little bit. We actually start working on the wooden coaster in this section. It is confirmed a wooden coaster. We start on a GCI wooden coaster, and it's going to be a very cool ride. You'll see in just a moment. Now, we don't complete the tower today, but we get a really decent, good chunk of it done in this episode. So you'll definitely see more and more as the coming episodes come along, and it's turning out pretty cool, and I'm very excited to see the final product when it is done, because you're going to have some really cool scenes on the ride. You're going to have the cool drop tower effects. This almost is a dark ride within itself. I'm very happy that we have this ride in Planet Coaster, and we can really decorate it any kind of way that we want. And that's the neat thing about this, is we're going to create a scene here in this spot. Again, it's going to have its storyline, and the storyline behind this ride is, yeah, you're in kind of this science facility, this research facility, not science facility, and they're kind of trying to research a cure for the virus going around that has caused the apocalypse, and it goes terribly wrong. And that's kind of the basis of this storyline. And we get into this scene right here, where we have this radioactive kind of stuff that they're trying to test, and it kind of goes wrong, and some guys kind of are unlucky in how this works out. And then on the other side, they have a lot of, I would say, I guess, zombies kind of trying to get to them, so they're limited on time trying to figure this out, and it doesn't go as planned. They have all these zombies kind of locked up, and hoping that they can continue, and it's on fire as well, so this building's on fire. These zombies are trying to get to them, and they only have so much time to figure this out. Needless to say, it doesn't work out their way, and that's kind of this first scene here. The other scenes remain to be seen what is going to end up there, but it's really cool. I wanted these guys to kind of look like scientists trying to figure this stuff out. We're also going to have all these cool looking triggered effects and stuff like that within this. It's very hard to do these triggered effects on this ride because you have to go in. You can't just select the track and where you want the where you want it to trigger. You have to go by seconds, so you have to find the exact ride time spot of where it is and put it in that. That's the kind of the interesting part that's hard to kind of figure out, but with a lot of effort and hard work, we're gonna get it done, and it's gonna look awesome and epic. I can't wait to see what the final product is going to be. So this is the majority episode we do work on this. We did have a shorter episode last episode, so you'll appreciate that I kind of made this a longer episode, even sped up. It's still over 20 minutes long on this episode, so I hope you guys appreciate that to kind of make up for the last episode, since we had a shorter episode due to the fact I didn't have as much as time, and the stuff I wanted to get done didn't take as long as I thought it would. So but this time we have a lot of stuff to work on, and I probably didn't get as much done as I wanted to, actually, so that's kind of neat. So we have a fun-filled episode here for you guys, and I wanted to make this look like glass, like you're looking into a science experiment through the glass windows, and you can see everything from there. That was kind of the idea. We're going to use a lot of sci-fi-ish kind of looking architecture in the inside. That's going to be the kind of the idea of this ride. Everything's going to look because we are in the future. We're not in the past or present. We're in the future, so some stuff is going to look more technologically advanced than it used to be, and we're going to have all these alarms and different stuff like that. It's going to look really, really neat. I'm very excited to see how this all turns out in the end. I hope you guys are excited as well for this, and I can't wait because I loved how this interior turned out for the most part. I'm very excited, and I can't wait to do the exterior design of this building as well. It's going to look really neat. I hope you guys will think it will as well, and we actually get a little bit in on some pathways in this section of the park. This area, I want it to be a decently larger area of the park. We still have 2 other sections to get to in the park as well. So with that being said, we're going to try and really go all out in the Apocalypse section in the next couple of episodes. Go back to the Jurassic section entrance area every so often, but for the most part, we're going to try and keep it within the Apocalypse section, working on it. That way we can get to the next section. I really want to get the park layout kind of completed sooner rather than later, and I hope that's going to be the idea. We have so much detailing to still do, but I still want to try and get the layout of the park kind of going in a sense, so you can kind of get a feel of what the park is going to be laid out like. So terrain and everything like that, all the rides will be placed. Everything will pretty much be placed. Everything will just need to still be more heavily detailed than everything. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at within the future. So here in this part, as you can see, we're working on getting some zombies in here. I wanted to try and get some different colors and textures on this. I wish there was a couple different ones. I wanted to have a couple of them laying in the background like they were dead. But I couldn't really figure that out very well. So that didn't end up happening because when you put these ones stationary, they don't lay on the ground. They actually stay standing up, and that's not exactly what I wanted. So we might figure out something in the end. So I did put a lot of fire in the background of this scene, and it's going to be really, really cool. I'm very excited. We're going to have some custom audio effects, hopefully, within this ride as well. But I haven't got that out just yet. We're going to have some custom music also, I think, that goes through, that plays on the ride. That's what I'm hoping to have anyways, and we'll do a lot of experimentation on all of that. So you can see kind of the shaping of how this tower is going to look when it's all said and done, and we still have to make all those scenes on the rest of the ride. After we get those scenes done and completed, we'll work on the exterior of the exterior of the of this as well. And we'll enclose it, do the exterior, and of course we have to work on the queue line as well. I don't want to enclose the building until all of that stuff is done. So another cool idea I had is to make the pathways kind of look like you're in a city, like on the streets. So I decided to make it look like there are roads for cars and sidewalks and everything, and that's where all the buildings are going to be. You're going to see some really cool towers and different things like that. So all your buildings and merch buildings and shops and stuff are going to look like they're destroyed and closed for business, but when in actuality you'll be able to actually buy some stuff from here. And this is going to be some cool stuff that I kind of experimented. I wanted to make start on a building and kind of get some experimentation going on with some bricks, textures, and formats and stuff like that. I have some knocked over cars and rubble and lots of different, just garbage and stuff laying around, and everything's gonna look out of whack and barely holding on together. That's the idea of this section, and I really feel like if I mess up on something, it doesn't really matter because everything's gonna look cool. And I really want to do a lot of particle effects in this area. I want to have almost like a layer of fog at the bottom of this section of the park. Now I'm going to try and do it in a way that there's not too many particle effects, because if I do too many particle effects, we're going to lose our frame rate dramatically, and that's the only downside of trying to figure this out. But we might have it just in one section. I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out, and we'll figure it out as we go along. So we have a Chief Beef going on over here in this section of the park. My goal again with this park is to get some good flow of guests throughout the entire park, and the entrance area is the only part that I really have to tweak because a lot of guests don't roam around that section. They all go to the monorail, and they only go to these sections of the park because that's where all the rides are. Since there's no rides in the entrance area, it's really tough to try and figure out how to get guests to kind of roam around in those areas. So that's why I do some of those guest flow tests. It's always a good idea while you're making a huge mega park like this, a bigger, larger park, to do a lot of guest flow tests. So you open up your park and just kind of see where the guests go and flow, and I want to try and make the flow as best as I can. The Jurassic section flow was actually pretty decent, so I'm actually probably due for another flow test here pretty soon before I get too far into it. So I get a lot of people asking about the giant clock tower as well. Is it done? Is it going to be that bare? And my question is no, it's not even close to being done. It's just kind of on hold right now until I figure out, because I do want to put maybe like a functional clock on the actual clock itself, maybe using images or something, and I don't know exactly how to do that just yet. So that's kind of the thing I'm kind of waiting on, trying to figure out to see if I can do something neat like that. I think that'd be kind of cool idea, and but we'll see if it all can happen or anything like that. So this is just a test on this area, the experimentation on the test on the street. I think it'll turn out really cool in the end. But you got the sidewalk, the street, and then you have the tower in the middle. That's going to be the main part of the street here. Then on the other side, off to the other side, that's where I wanted to put the wooden roller coaster, which is what we get into right here, the GCI coaster. And this isn't going to take up a huge plot of land. It's not going to be very large. It's actually going to be a very average sized GCI coaster, just over 100 feet tall. It's going to have a drop turn and different things like that. A lot of ejector air time, staying low to the ground, keeping its speed, and it actually turns out very nice. I'm very, very proud of how this turned out, and we'll be working on the station and everything else on it very soon as well. So it's going to have a lot of effects, probably not as much as Raptor Run. I mean, it'll have some pretty cool theming effects during the ride. We're going to have a lot of cool scenery around it with giving it some really cool scenes throughout this ride. You're going to see a lot of damaged buildings around it and a lot of havoc going on throughout the ride as well. So we don't have a name for it yet. It's not going to be called Apocalypse. I want to be a little bit original of what's going on. So the idea, the theme of this coaster is that you're pretty much I want to have it a car theme where you're driving around the city and trying to escape the virus that's going around and from the apocalypse. Pretty much, you're trying to get away from everything, and there's a lot of destruction going on, and you'll probably see quite a few triggered events on this coaster as well when it's all said and done. So that's very exciting to kind of think about, and I'm really excited for this coaster as well. There's going to be some really cool coasters. These coasters are going to be heavily themed, and they're going to be really, really cool. I hope you guys enjoy as much effort as I am putting in this, because Raptor Run still has a lot of work to do as well. It's still in its early stages of theming and audio cues. It has a lot of audio stuff that I still need to put in there as well. This will have some cool audio, hopefully, at the same time. So, it was a lot of trial and error, but this coaster turned out really cool, and I'm actually very proud of it. I think it's one of my favorite GCI-style kind of coasters that I've ever made. So it is going to be a GCI, and this is already our third coaster in the park, if you count, of course, the kiddie coaster, which does count, by the way. So this is our third coaster. It's our largest coaster so far. In the park. Again, this park's not going to have like 300-foot tall roller coasters. It's just going to have heavily themed roller coasters. So most of the money goes towards theming and different stuff like that. So you got to keep that kind of in mind. I don't know an exact number of how many coasters are going to be in the park at the end. I get a lot of questions on that. How many coasters are going to be in the park? I would assume probably more than any other park that I've done so far in the JLW Entertainment chain. So probably over 6, maybe even more. I'm not sure. But we do a lot of good questions also is, will I have any, dark rides or indoor roller coasters? And the question and the answer to that is most likely yes. We're gonna have another dark ride. I do want to put another dark ride within this section as well, on top of the tower ride, which is kind of a dark ride within itself. But I want to put another cool dark ride somewhere within this section of the park as well. You're also going to probably see another dark ride or two in the sci-fi section at the same time. So there's going to be a couple of dark rides within this park. Whether it's an indoor roller coaster, I don't know exactly. I'm maybe planning on something like that. I want to make sure there's a lot of variety in this park, and that is the big idea, that there's so much variety in the park, and there's going to be a lot in the park. So if I open up this park, it is going to get packed. That is going to be the idea. I want to see if I can fit 20,000 plus guests in this park. That's going to be a test I'm going to do. It's going to kill my computer, but I think it will be fun to see how many guests we can get in. Of course, when I save it to the Steam Workshop, I won't have those guests in there. I'll have 0 guests starting. That's very important. I think I've made that mistake myself. Make sure that your park is empty when you upload it to the Steam Workshop. Otherwise, you could kill some people's computer. I think I'm going to kill people's computers just with the park by itself. So just keep that in mind. And it's still running pretty decently on my computer so far, surprisingly. And we're almost halfway done. So I'm very curious of where it's going to be when it is in its complete state. Even if it's a bad frame rate for my computer, I'm still going to go push through it, and I just want to create the most detailed, wonderful park that I can, even if it does kill my computer or something like that. I know a lot of people don't like that, because then they can't take advantage of it in their workshop, but I'm going to have other parks as well that but this is an all-out project, guys. This is an all-out detailed mega park project. So it is going to take up some space. If I could make it to where it's good for every computer, it would be a very small park. So anyways, that is gonna about do it for this episode. We get done with this layout and we don't do anything else with it just yet, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe for more amazing content like this. Don't forget that. And you guys make sure you have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much again, guys, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks again, and goodbye.